Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I am really excited to be here today to talk about finances, which is a topic that I feel is very important, especially for a lot of my viewers who are either in college or are new grads, because in college you don't really learn much about how to manage your finances or what are the best ways to set yourself up for success in the long run. And this is something that I have always been intensely interested in ever since high school, where I started investing starting from penny stocks, and then I had invested money into the S&P 500 since high school, and then it just kind of carried over through college. And now that I have a full-time job, it's been accruing and I've been investing even more heavily and saving more. So today we're going to dive into 3 different topics. The first one we're going to talk about is going to be income. How much do you actually make? So for myself, I actually have multiple streams of income. My primary source of income being my 9-to-5 job, which is as a software engineer. Some of my side jobs include contractual work, YouTube, social media, and I also have affiliate links, marketing, and then on top of that, I do some consulting work for some other companies. And in terms of income, I'm not going to count the dividends that I receive from my investments, because that money, I just reinvest all my dividends, so we'll keep it as investments. For the rest of this video though, I know not everyone is like that, so I will be focusing on my 9-to-5 job, which is basically my software engineering salary, and now we are going to be diving into savings. So topic number 2 is going to be savings. In terms of how much I save as a very standard amount, I always max out my 401k. I don't do IRA because I do have an employee-sponsored plan. Difference between IRA and 401k is that 401k is employee-sponsored, and the company that I work for, they do contribute a percentage of my salary up to a certain dollar amount for my 401k. Every year that I intern, I always put money into my 401k and I max it out every year. I highly suggest that you always max out your 401k because this is pre-tax money and it will help you to reduce the amount of taxes that you pay. And you also want to set yourself up for success when you're trying to retire and you don't want to retire broke. I also do something called the Mega Backdoor Roth 401k. This is a trick that some people do, transfers money from 401k to Roth 401k, and I can do post-tax money up to $40,000, 40,000 something. I believe I do maybe around 20 to 30,000 of post-tax income where I siphon money from my 401 to my Roth. For my HSA, I max that out as well. I forget what the exact numbers are, but I believe it is 3,600, somewhere around there, but I max it out. Your HSA, your 401k, these are all pre-tax income. And if you have a lot of excess income, you could also max out your 529, which is you could basically start an education fund for your future kids, and that's also pre-tax income. You know, if you have a lot of disposable income, I would just suggest you to essentially try to max out all of the investments that you can do pre-tax so that you are taxed as little for after-tax money. But I do not do 529. I don't make nearly enough to do that, and I have other things that I need to spend money on, so I don't invest there. So now let's move on to the third category, which I'm sure what most people are most interested in, which is spending. Here I do have notes on my laptop where I have written down all of my spendings for the most part. And so in terms of tracking all my finances, I use an app called Mint. And this is an app that I've been using for like 6 years or something like that, very long time. So my biggest expense, okay, before we go into spending, let me just preface this with how I spend is not how you should spend. Saving, okay, I think everyone should save, like max out 401k, max out HSA, like save as much as you can. In terms of spending, this is very personal. I don't want to see anything in the comments commenting about how much I spend on XYZ, because I think I'm good at managing my finances. That's all I wanted to say before we go into the numbers. Okay, let's start with living, right? That's the most important thing. How much does it cost for me to put a roof over my head? Number one most expense is going to be rent. Rent is the biggest money sucker. Rent, I spend $24.75 a month. That is $2,475 a month. That just puts this roof over my head. But granted, this is also a very nice roof. I live in Seattle and I have a 1-bedroom, which by the way, the next video will be an apartment tour, so stay tuned for that. I choose to spend a lot of money on rent because my living space is very important to me. I am a natural homebody. I care deeply about lighting, about kitchen, like all of my hobbies revolve around like living. Living is important to me. It's an unjustified but justified expense. Next, moving on, we have utilities. So in Seattle, at my particular place, I pay for the electricity, the water, the sewage, the garbage, and then we have like the apartment management fees. And so that I have budgeted for 120, and it's typically always around 120, sometimes 110, 100, but it's like around 120. And then I pay $60 for internet, but I actually get that expensed. So even though $60 for internet, I just get it expensed, so it's like at zero cost for me. Next big money sucker for me is going to be parking. So here in Seattle, I do have a car. I don't drive anywhere really. Occasionally, maybe my friends and I, we might make a trip to Vancouver, or in the next few weeks, I'll be going to Oregon with another friend. But for the most part, my car is really just used to drive me from my apartment to Costco and back, or me to another grocery store and back. Yeah, so parking is $300. And in terms of gas, I have allocated $50 a month for gas. But really, I mean, even with gas prices going up, I honestly like only add gas once every 2 months. It's extremely infrequent. And for the gym, I go to a local gym. My apartment complex does have a gym as well, but I sometimes like to step out of my apartment, get some fresh air, go on a walk. So I do pay for an external gym membership, and that is $18. To add up the cost of all my living, including rent, utilities, parking, gym, and gas, the total for that is going to be $29.63. And now we'll move on to the next biggest expense for me, which is food. So as I mentioned, I live alone, and one of my biggest hobbies is cooking, which I cook a lot. Honestly, cooking is like my part-time job. I cook because, well, one, it's a huge passion of mine, and two, I also have a food Instagram, which is at Munchies with Mare. I will put it right here, and I would love if you guys would follow that food account. I'm extremely passionate about food and plating, and I really want to be able to show my love for food to everyone else, my love for both food and matcha, of course. Because I love cooking so much, I don't really restrict myself to say, oh, I can only buy turkey or chicken or whatever's cheapest. Like if I want to make lobster bisque that day, I will buy that $60 lobster. I'm so into cooking and fresh ingredients that it's not really something that I care to save money on. But in turn, I am someone who saves money in the fact that I never, ever, 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 ever get takeout. I have not gotten takeout in a very long time. I think in the past 5 years, I've gotten takeout under 5 times. I kid you not. That saves a lot of money for me. I don't have to pay for delivery fee, don't tip, don't have to pay for the surcharge. On average, how much I spend, sometimes it's $300, sometimes it's like $800, $900 if I'm hosting. But for the most part, groceries on average stays at about $500, and that's buying whatever I want, whatever fresh ingredients. If I want to go to the farmer's market and buy organic berries, I will do that. It just depends. Okay, for restaurants. How much do I eat out? Really not at all. I have budgeted $300 for restaurants, and that includes cafes, that includes basically restaurants. This $300 category that I have budgeted for restaurants is just anytime I'm going out to purchase food. Even though I have budgeted around $300 for restaurants, honestly, I eat out like once a month, once every 2 months. I personally never drink. I don't like alcohol. I only drink on very rare occasions if I am celebrating a friend's birthday or if there's some occasion. But for me, I am just not about that drunk life. You will rarely find me drunk. If I were to go to a nice restaurant, sure, I'll get like 1 cocktail, maybe 2. I know for a lot of people, alcohol can rack up a huge bill and they're expenses. But for my living and my lifestyle, I do not drink alcohol, so it's not an allocated budget. Every month I have allocated $100 for entertainment, and monthly charge, I get $10 charged monthly for Spotify. I've allocated an extra $90 for entertainment, but because I don't go to any events or anything, like it accumulates with so many months that if I wanted to go to a concert and let's say the ticket is like $400 or $300, like I could do that because It's like accumulated savings from my previous months where I don't like buy tickets. And my last category is going to be shopping. I do love shopping. Who doesn't love shopping? I love buying things. Retail therapy is such a thing. And I totally understand that. I love buying workout clothes. I love buying things for my apartment. I love buying home decor, like love. $300 sounds like a lot of money. It's really not a lot. Okay, I could go to Aritzia and buy something and it's like over $300. Like $300 is really not that much money. And I typically don't really go shopping. If I'm going to buy something, I try to think about, you know, what's the utility value? How many uses am I going to get out of this thing? Is it going to last me very long? Is it timeless? Is it classy? Is it et cetera, et cetera? In terms of shopping, I typically don't shop on a month-to-month basis. So sometimes when I do shop, it tends to go over 300, which is fine because it accumulates from the month before where I didn't spend anything. And honestly, that's all that I really spend money on. I don't really spend money on anything else. So if we total all of that up, so on average, I would say each month I spend around $4,163. Of course, it fluctuates. Sometimes if I'm buying a plane ticket to see a friend, or if like I'm going on vacation, staying in a hotel, like these are all like unaccounted for expenses. But on a day-to-day, like every month, an average month for me is typically spending around $4,163. I don't really go over this. Everything else that I make in excess of this amount of money typically goes to savings for me. So what does that mean, right? Because we had already discussed that I do savings via my Roth 401k, 401k, and also through HSA. So these savings are all going to be my after-tax savings. All goes into a separate savings, which is my personal brokerage account, where I do my own personal investments. So these would be into like individual stocks, ETFs. And so for all of my side jobs, which I mentioned, like the contractual work, social media, like marketing or like affiliate links, etc., all of that money typically gets put into a separate business account. What is really the key, right? So picture you're a new grad, you just got out of college, you're so excited, you make money now, this is your own money. And now you're like, oh my God, I make money, I can go spend it. No, the most important thing, number one, is definitely live below your means. Now, some people could argue,
oh wow, you spent like $3,000 for just living. Isn't that like above your means?
Well, no, because the total amount that I spend each month is definitely far below my means. So I think as long as your total cost of your lifestyle is below your means, then you are okay. How you choose to allocate that money, that is up to you. And that's why it leads me to number two, which is to figure out your priorities and what matters to you. So let's say you really like to go out and you don't care that much about your living situation. Well, save money on rent, like get a roommate, get the cheapest thing possible, and then allocate all of your funds instead to go out to eat, to go to restaurants, to like for alcohol, for like pre-games, etc., like whatever is more suited for your lifestyle. You cannot have it all. If you are having it all, then you are either not saving enough or you just make so much money that it's ridiculous and it's just like, fuck you money. But I can guarantee that most of you guys watching this do not have that kind of money. So you are probably not saving enough and you're probably living above your means. The other key is to really try to visualize what your long-term goals are. So for me, I eventually want to buy a home. I grew up in California. I eventually would love to move back to California. Any nice home in California, if you look on Zillow, is like $5 million. So how the hell am I gonna get $5 million with a 20% down payment? Like that takes time to accumulate that much cash. It takes time. So that's why, again, invest every month. Invest, start early. You want to start investing, you want time to work for you with compound interest. I think it's very important for you to visualize yourself planning for very far ahead, because if you are right now living paycheck to paycheck, there's no way you're going to be able to afford a home like 10, 15 years down the road, right? Number four, my last tip would be to learn to say no. I am excellent at saying no to people. I am absolutely excellent when people are like, Meredith, let's go out for drinks. I'm like, no. Or like, Meredith, like, let's go and try this restaurant. I'm like, no. So instead what I say is, oh, like, I still want to hang out with you guys. Would you guys rather come over and like eat my food? So that's typically what happens for my situation, where I don't really want to go out to eat and instead I will cook for other people. And it gives me an opportunity to learn how to cook for multiple people and have the food all like hot and ready at the same time. B, gives me the chance to cook different things because I have people taste testing my food. Once you figure out your priorities and once you figure out what things matter to you, it should be easier, hopefully, for you to say no to things that you don't want to do. because there is no way that you can go to everything, say yes to everything, and not be broke. Like, you will go down the path of being broke or not saving enough if you start saying yes to everything. Learn to be strict with yourself, learn to say no, and learn to put yourself first, prioritize yourself. Those are all the tips that I have for you. And that is the tea on my spending. And this is me as a new grad. Hopefully, in a decade from now, when I make a lot more money, hopefully my spending will be different and the way that I allocate things will be different. Hopefully I save a lot more. Hopefully my investments have flourished. Who knows? Give this video a thumbs up if you found it helpful or entertaining. Make sure that you guys follow me on all my social media. My personal Instagram is at MareHeartsU. My food Instagram is at Munchies with Mare, and my food review Instagram is MareCaseEats. I hope you guys are having a lovely rest of your day. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.